We enter now the month of Nisan, already 10 days in Nisan, but still starting with the Zodiac of Aries. So a lot about this month. We wrote in our book about the Zodiac, and one can get it in different places, definitely in the internet, Amazon, or in my site, Glazerson.com. Or if people live in Israel, Ranana, Achuza Street 111, Judaica bookshop. So this is a book about zodiacs, as we see just now, based on Book of Formation, many other interesting sources. So let us start with the month of Nisan, the month of Aries. So we know quite well, we mentioned many times, that every month, according to the Book of Formation, related to Abraham, was created with letter. So the month of Nisan, Aries, was created through the letter Hey. Very interesting. Hey, very important letter. Appears twice in the name of God, Yud Kevavke. Definitely, according to Kabbalah, the first Hey of Yud Kevavke is understanding, and the last one, kingdom. So Hey and kingdom definitely goes together, because we know the month of Nisan was called the Rosh Hashanah LaMelachim, the kings. Like, started from this month, the days of the years. So the ruling attribute, like as we said, every month attribute. So the ruling attribute of this month is the power of speech. Yeah, every month have specific attribute. And the attribute of this month is speech, speaking. God gave us the power of speech and to speak. And this speech is really, as the Torah says, when God blew into the man spirit of life, Ruach Chaim, wind of life, it was the power of speech that a man got. So this month, the beginning of the cycle of the zodiacs of the year, really starts with the power of speech, which is the most important part in man. To be very careful not to use it. So the idea is the letter Hey. About it is written, it is stated in the Talmud Menachot 29b, that the letter Hey most essentially characterizes the divine act of creation of the present world. As the Torah says on the word Be, Ele toldot hashamayim be'aretz v'yivaram, those are the heaven and earth when they were created. The Torah said Behibaram, and the letter A is there, the small letter indicating to the letter Hey, with which the world was created. So we see speech and creation goes together. And now we can see it, that when you speak to the internet already, the site comes out. So the power of speech is very, very powerful. And this is exactly what is the attribute of this month. The Torah says that God created the world with the letter Hey. In fact, it's interesting, it's written Bidvar Hashem, Shamayim Nasu, with the words of God, heaven and earth were created. Yeah, this is a verse in Psalm 36:6, Tehillim. So by the word of God were the heavens made. This is exactly what the translation of the verse, and there is another one, a further place, which says, Ko amar vayehi, Hu amar vayehi, for he spoke and it came to be, he commanded and it was established. It means the power of speech basically is the power with which God created the world. It's very interesting that in my book, Hebrew Source of Languages, I show a lot of connection between the Hebrew words and English ones. One can see them Amazon.com or in my site, Glazerson.com. And then I bought many interesting things, like the English word world, W-O-R-L-D, is basically with the word W-O-R-D, like the L additional to make from the word. Can be coincident, because in Hebrew also the same letter of davar, of speech or word, is like davar, a matter, anything, right? Dvarim, matters, which were created with davar. So it's very interesting to see behind the letters of the language also a lot about the concept of the matter. So Nisan, the first month, Aries was created with the letter A and with the attribute of speech. The birth of the creation of the world occurred during Nisan, whereas the conception of the world occurred during Tishrei, Libra. So this you'll find a lot in Tosfot, Rosh Hashanah 27a. Because it is interesting, from one side, Nisan is the beginning of the year, spring, this is exactly the right season to start. From the other side, you have Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, Day of Loss, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. So Tosfot says that it can be this, both creations, the creation, the conceivement of the world, which is called Erayon, Ayom Harat Olam. The word like was in thought, in the mind of God to create it was on Tishrei, but practically it came out on Nisan. During the month of Nisan, the expressive power of speech finds its focus in the holiday of Passover. The Holy Ari wrote a book which is brought in the book of Priyas Chaim, points out that the word Pesach, Passover, Pesach in Hebrew, is actually a conjugation of two words, Pesach, the mouth speaks. This evidently refers to the main highlights of Passover night, the recital of the Haggadah, telling the story of our exodus from Egypt. So very interesting, the Hebrew word Pesach is Pesach, according to Rabbi Zekluya, because all the Pesach is to open the mouth and Sach, and to speak about the great miracles that God performed to us in Egypt, definitely showing the great power of God. Then, definitely, there is the ruling element of this month. Every month ruling element of the month. So this is the association of this powerful element with this month occurs with its being designated the official beginning of the year as regards the coronation of kings, as we said, and the dating of financial documents. As we mentioned, this is a connection between this month and kingdom. According to the Holy Ari, Rabbi Ziglua, within the structure of the cosmic bodies, the months of Nisan, Aries, correspond to the head, the resting place of the brain, which controls the body as a king rules his kingdom. The designation of the head is also symbolized of the fact that Nisan is the first month of the year. The element of fire, this is the element of this month, is fire, because all the months are divided into the four elements: earth, fire, water, and wind. In Hebrew it is called There are 4 letters. Avia, Avir, the air. Bet is the, in fact, better to say that those 4 elements are correspond to the 4 worlds. And this is Avia, Tzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, Ve'asiyah, emanation, creation, formation, and action. All goes together. The 4 is a very important number. That's why in the Agoda you have the number 4 a lot. So these are the 4 elements, basically, as we said, earth, air, fire, and water. And the element of this month, Nisan, Aries, is fire. Because fire also roasts the lamb. This is the idea, definitely, with the fire. We are roasting the lamb, which was the idol of the Egyptian. Definitely to show that idolatry are far away from our belief, definitely to show that there is no other power in the world, it's God. And therefore the lamb, which was the idol of the Egyptian, we are roasting it here to show that it is the power of God which controls everything. Now, what the science of astrology say about this month, very interesting to see. Comparison. So the science of astrology tells us that a person born under the sign of Aries excels in disposition towards leadership. Many are interesting. Such kind of power of leadership. Definitely everything as positive is negative. The negative expression of this principle, however, shows itself in feeling of excessive self-importance and tyranny. This is really the negative side. These qualities were most characteristic of the ancient Egyptian kingdom that enslaved the Jewish people. Therefore, the intentions behind the laws and customs of Passover are to symbolically reverse these negative tendencies. Definitely, we should be proud, feel fire that we are the chosen nation, chosen by God. So definitely this itself gives people positive pride, keeping mitzvot, the Torah, which God gave us. The month of Nisan marks the beginning of the formation of the Jewish nation. This process started on the eve of the Exodus from Egypt and culminated during the 3rd month, Sivan, Geminis. These are receiving the Torah at Mount Sinai. You know quite well that Passover really started the process preparing, we have the days of Omer, preparing ourselves to the month of Sivan, which is definitely the twins, Gemini, representing according to Kabbalah Moses and Aaron, according to whom we got the Torah. So this is the idea, definitely, from Passover, 50 days, important number, which brings us to the Sinai revelation. It is very interesting, according to the Abnenezer, this is the father of Shem Shmuel. So according to Abnenezer, this nation building process is symbolized in the possession of the first 3 astrological signs. Very interesting. If you take the astrology sign of Nisan, of Taurus, and Sivan, you will see clearly this development of the Jewish people. how you see it in a very interesting way. Aries, the lamb, symbolizes unity of the collective, for in a flock of lambs, each one feels itself identical with the other. Also, just as sheep follow the shepherd, the Jewish people accepted the authority of Moses. In addition to this, the Paschal sacrifice served as a ritual of unification for the Jewish people. So this is really Nisan, a month represent unity, also the idea of the Passover, eating together in the Seder, buying the lamb together, eating the lamb in groups, means the power of unity. This is the power of this month, Aries. Exactly like lambs, they don't rebel against their shepherds, they follow nicely everything. Yeah, say, what are we? Yeah. Very interesting, they surrender to this. So this was how Jewish people behaved on the month of Nisan, Aries. The second month, Iyar, Taurus, symbolizes individuality. Just as the bull, the astrological symbol of the month, desires to live in isolation. Yeah, every ox goes to his corner, not interested in the other one. Very often they rebel. Again, this one want to lead them. Iyar is therefore designated as a time of introspection and self-development in preparation for receiving the Torah. Very interesting. The Sivan, definitely, let us see what it is. So the Shem Shmuel, the son of the Arnezer, states there's a process of individualization associated with the month of Iyar is linked with the counting of the Omer, most of which, in this counting, occurs during the month Iyar. Looking at our history, it has been noted that the death of the students of Rabbi Akiva, 24,000 of Rabbi Akiva students died, which occurred during the Omer counting period, were brought about by the over-emphasis of the individual as against the collective, which led to the neglect of the qualities of leadership and trust. We know quite well. They did not really respect and honor each other. So during the month of Nisan, Aries, the Jewish people express themselves collectively by assuming the nature of sheep following a shepherd. During the month of Iyar, however, there were times when the Jewish people expressed the rebellious qualities of the bull, when in the Sinai desert they rebelled against Moses and Aaron during that month. In the Torah, you have a lot of stories that unfortunately during this month when they came out of Egypt, they felt already that there are something. As in Egypt, they were slaves, didn't have time to think about themselves. So, an Iyar, after the month of Nisan, they started realizing that there is something. So if there are something that also important, that they start rebelling against Moses and Trezik. This is the idea. It's very interesting medrash. It's called Psikta Rabbah. So he explains that the Torah was not given to the Jewish people during the first 2 months, Nisan and Iyar, Aries and Taurus. Why? Because both months are symbolized by animals. Where Sivan, where the Torah was given, is symbolized in the human form. It is twins, Gemini, interesting. So the Bnei Yissaschar, very known book, in discourse about Sivan, states that during the first 2 months of the Jewish people of this month, the Jewish people worked in developing their animal qualities in the service of man. And during the third month, which is the month of Sivan, Gemini, they achieved a holy human nature. It's so interesting to see the development of the Jewish people from a state of lambs into an ox, and then getting the ideal human beings, but realizing that everyone is different, yeah? And this is the importance which happened really when you stood before Sinai, is in Vayicham, like one body, everyone realized, appreciate his fellow man. This is the ideal, this is real nation supposed to be. Each one knows what is destiny, what is task within the people's whole nation. Now we know quite well also that the Torah calls Nisan, the month of Nisan Aries, Chodesh HaAvir, the month of spring. Here too we find the symbol of development and maturation. This can also be observed in the procession of the letters that form the word Aviv. In Hebrew, Aviv, spring, are the letter Aleph, Yud, Bet, Aleph, Bet, Yud, Bet. So those letters of this word begins with the unfolding of the Aleph, Bet, in its ascending order. Yeah, like Aleph, the first letter, then come Bet, indicated by contrast to the Tishrei, the month of Tishrei, which is exactly the opposite. The letters are Taf, Shin, Reish. With its letter Taf, the last letter of the alphabet, goes backwards to the Shin, next to the last Reish, the third to the, all in retrograde pattern, returning to the Yud. Yud, the letter Yud symbolizes a reversal of the pattern of growth that characterizes Nisan. I mean, Yud, yeah, Yud is the letter of holiness, of sanctity. In fact, Yehudi are basically the letter Yod, the first letter of God, because Jews are part of God, yeah. Interesting, in some like in German, Holland, you have Jude, yeah, Jode, in Holland, Jode. In German, it's Jude, all Yud, because Yud represents the sanctity of God, which is connected with the Jew. So it's so interesting that in the month of Nisan, we are developed from Aleph, Bet, Aleph is learning Torah, Bet, understanding, to the Yud, Aviv, the Yud, getting our completion. On Tishrei, we are doing Shuvah, returning back to our source. So from Tav, Shin, Reish to the Yud, amazing. So this is the importance of this month, Nisan. So these tendencies that we spoke about are codified in the seasons of the year. Nisan, the beginning of spring, is a period of growth and agricultural development, while Tishrei, marking the onset of winter, is a period when the trees lose their leaves and crops and harvested. Very interesting. I mean, it's a very important idea that the creation of nature corresponds to the creation of the spiritual elements, like what we see here. So the process of development and unfolding is further symbolized by the combination of the letters that form the divine name, as it is associated with the month Yud-Ke Vav-Ke. It is known, you can see those who pray, that on Rosh Chodesh in the prayer of Musaf is the intention that one should have in the last bracha Mekadesh Chodashim, that one should put in his mind the combination of the four letters of Yud, Yud-Ke Vav-Ke. So in the month, this month has exactly the right order of God, Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is really abbreviation, Yismechu Hashamayim v'Tagel Haaretz. The heaven will be happy and the earth. So the divine name, as it is associated with the month of Yud Kei of God, as we said, the Yud symbolizes wisdom, which in the unfolding of the process of creation precedes the Hei, which symbolizes understanding, Chokhmah and Binah, Yud Kei. They give birth to the Vav. That's when Kabbalah Vav is called, Yud is like the father, Hei is the mother, Vav is the son. So after Yud Kei, you have the Vav. Then the Vav is known to be in Gematria 6, which represents the 6 attributes, loving kindness, judgment, beauty, victory, glory, and foundation, which are unified in the last A. The last A, the layer of kingdom, we said, is connection to the month of Nisan, and this kingdom which corresponds to the word of action. Very interesting. Kingdom symbolized by the last A, the letter A, denotes growth and agriculture, which proceed through the attribute of the abundant grace. This attribute was expressed towards the Jewish people during Nisan, when God liberated them from Egyptian bondage. Although the Jews of that time did not merit it, the Jews at that time, as you know quite well, the situations are very much improved, influenced by the Egyptian. So at that time, they believed in the Egyptian faith. So then God took them out from this bondage, and definitely the belief in God came out. During Passover, we refrain from eating any food that contains leavening, which symbolizes pride, for it causes dough to rise and puff up, you know quite well. This is exactly what chametz is, yeah? We also eat matzah, which symbolizes humbleness, yeah? Humble, just very humble. Jews were supposed to be, and this was the matzah symbolizes. And as it is called, bread that does not grow. False pride can lead a person to an unrealistic high self-estimation and to brashness of ego. It is no contact these influences that the Torah and its commandments were given. So definitely this was the matzah symbolizes. So as you remember, we said before that the sign of Nisan, Aries, the sheep, so also represents this idea. So the sheep as the head of its herd does not feel itself to be most important one, for it recognizes along with the others the guidance of the shepherd. So too the central concept of Pesach is the recognition of faith in divine guidance, which counteracts the negative influences of the sign of Aries, as we saw before, very important. Of the 12 tribes of Israel, the tribe associated with the month is Judah, Yehuda. Also we mentioned in our talk, she brought about the meaning of every zodiac, which is also a tribe of the 12 tribes of Israel. So, according to the Rabbi Zikluya, the month of Nisan is connected with Yehuda, Jews, the tribe of King David. Kingdom is the foundation of this month, as can be derived from the verse, the very famous verse, in Exodus 12:2, החודש הזה לכם ראש חודשים. This month, Nisan, shall be for you the head of all months. It shall be first month of the year of your year. So interesting, the Hebrew word lachem, lamed kaf mem, to you as the same letters rearranged, spell king. So this month is a month of kingdom, as we saw before. It is explained in the Holy Kabbalah that the source of the power of kingdom rests with humbleness. This concept is also indicated in King David, named David, Dalet Vav Dalet. Very interesting. Those letters, Dalet, means humble. Dal, poor, humble, yeah. Humbleness and humbleness. So David, Dalet, Vedalet represents humbleness and humbleness. So too, it appears in the name Yehuda. Judah also. In Hebrew, you have Yehuda, where we find the letter Dalet, which is humbleness like Dal, placed in the middle of the divine name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. The divine name itself also expresses humbleness, as can be seen in the numerical value of its letters when fully spelled out. Yud 20, Yud Vav A 6, A Aleph, Vav Vav 12. Of all the letters of the alphabet, these letters contain the lowest numerical value when the letters are fully spelled out. Amazing. So going back to the Zodiac Aries shape, the sheep. So the sheep as the head of the flock may be taken as a symbol of the king as the head of his dominion. The sheep as it walks bleats out meh, which translated into Hebrew means, what are we? Here too, we see the combination of royalty and humbleness. Like the lamb as the head of its flock, the tribe of Judah was always the first tribe to start traveling during the Israelis wandering in the desert. The rest of the tribes then followed in the formation of their correspondence to the signs of the zodiac. It's very interesting to see this connection of the months to Judah, who was a king, and symbol of kingdom, which is the first. The name Judah symbolizes prayer. Very interesting. Yehuda comes from the Hebrew word Odaya, the Odot, to be thankful, an acknowledgement of the truth. So in Hebrew, Yehuda, Odaya, is thankfulness and also acknowledgement. Acknowledge. Very interesting. So the idea is definitely upon the birth of Yehuda, our matriarch Leah explained, this is what she called the Yehuda. This time I shall praise God. The development of the power of prayer reached its climax in the prayer and psalm of King David, who came from the month of the tribe of Judah, no doubt, clearly showing his acknowledgement, God, and thanking God for everything. In the Kabbalah, we find the power of speech associated with the attribute of kingdom. Very interesting. The word that guides and rules. In Hebrew, davar, in Hebrew also means this, as we see. This may be seen in the usage of the Hebrew word for speech, davar. In the following verse in Psalm 47:4, is written Yadber Amim Tachtenu Lomim Tachavaglenu, which means, the translation, he subdued There were subdued, interesting people under us and nations under our feet. Very interesting. Is the power of speech. Speech proceeds from the attribute of judgment and is associated with the planet Mars, very interesting, which rules the constellations of Aries. You know, every month, every zodiac have a star controlling it. So this is Mars. The relationship between kingdom and speech is explained by the letter A, very interesting, which symbolizes both of them, as we saw, A being the letter of the month, whose power is speech, which proceeds from the last A of the divine name of God, which is also letter A, that the attribute is kingdom. The sound of the letter A is breath, A, breath, which must always precede speech, for we are speaking. In another account of the relationship between the cosmic body with the months of the year, like Nisan, Nisan is symbolized by the heart that flows with kindness and generosity. In this structure, Tishrei corresponds to the head, whereas according to the previous figuring that placed Nisan as the head, Tishrei corresponds to the heart. Very interesting. In other cases, just as both Nisan and Tishrei are designated as the first month of the year, as we said, each within its own context, so too both the head and the heart can be said to share rulership of the body. No doubt, yeah. Each expressing itself in accordance with its essence. So according to Rabbi Isaac Luria, it's very interesting. So he said that what designates the heart and the head for both Nisan and Tishrei. So this is what he said. So it's very interesting Midrash, which says the following. The Midrash is called Midrash Tatshe. This is really a Midrash which is brought by Rabbeinu Bachri, commentary in the beginning of Exodus. So he says an unbelievable idea. He says that Levi, the son of Jacob, and the ancestor of Moses and Aaron, was born on the 16th of Nisan. Unbelievable. The month that later was to become the time of our liberation from Egypt. So they were born at this time. The culmination of our Exodus occurred at the splitting of the Sea of Reeds, Yam Suf. Who was the first one who jumped into the water? Nashon, the son of Aminadab, of the tribe of Judah, the tribe of kings, as we said there. So he entered the waters first in an act of faith that was followed by the actual splitting of the sea. Then the rest of the Jewish people, each together with his tribe, crossed the sea. So it's very, very interesting that this all goes to his king. Nachshon was a king from Judah. It was like the president. According to the Sefer Yetzirah, is a book which related to Abraham. In chapter 5, says the following. It says that every man's zodiac have to do also with a limb in the body. So what is the limb of the body of Aries, of Nisan? So says the book of formation, the limb of the body associated with the month of Nisan is the right leg. Amazing. This symbolizes in talking of the first step, taking of the first step is the development of the Jewish nation. So when you start walking with the right foot. So this was exactly the beginning of the process of the development, walking really of the Jewish people that before were slaves in Egypt, could not go wherever they want to go. They were enslaved to Egyptian. Now Passover came, they became free people, and they start walking with the right leg to the right purpose of their existence, which was accepting the Torah in the month of Gemini. So I think these are the most things. You can see much more into my book, which is about the Zodiac, which I think is a very important book. Really, you can see all the sources, which is the meaning of each Zodiac every month. So helping and wishing us coming of the Messiah, Passover. It's written that the Nissan, they were redeemed in the past and they will be redeemed in the future, but as always we saw that there is condition for redemption. This is repentance, returning to the Torah, which is exactly what happened to Jews when they returned to the Torah, keeping the Torah, came out of Egypt. When they kept the Torah, listened to the rabbis, they were saved for Holocaust in Purim. Unfortunately, not like this, not following the rabbis, brought to the Holocaust in Germany. So let us hope now that we will follow the Torah, we keep the Torah, we return to the Torah, and in this merit we will have Messiah coming soon in our time.